Hello everybody, and welcome back to another HeroDev video. This, however, is a different project. Definitely not Frontier from what you can see already. And this is actually my newest project that I've been working on, and I've been putting a lot of energy into it. And this is actually a puzzle game. And this game is called Chubes. Chubes is this puzzle crafting game that I have been trying to make because I wanted to make a simpler game instead of a more complicated game like Frontier, and just to take a break from Frontier overall and just have fun challenging myself with a new project that's much smaller, that's much easier to make, and that's gonna have a lot of fun to be had in its cutesy design and its simple art style. This game in particular has been in development for about 4 months, and it's been, or about 3 to 4 months, somewhere in between there, and it's kind of has a pretty, I think overall it's pretty good in the state it is in right now, but there's a lot of stuff coming to change. So first I'll give you guys an overview of what the game is right now, mechanically. I will keep the story hidden for right now, that's my decision right now, so you guys won't know anything about the story, but I will just simply talk about mechanics. So the first thing I want to show you guys is that you can obviously move around. It's in third person, and you can zoom in with the camera with the mouse wheel. You can zoom out. You look around, all that stuff. So on top of that, you can also have your basic sprint. The sprint, however, though, maybe is a little anything but basic because it's kind of a crazy animation. So as you can see, when you press shift, he gets into a ready up pose, jumps in the air first, and then rolls. And when you don't roll anymore, he does this. And he's so happy that he completed his little roll. And I just thought it was a really cute animation to do, and one thing that I've been trying to focus on in this in this game, is to make the characters look really cutesy and really bombastic and expressive. I haven't made too much on his facial expressions yet, but I have that planned for the next update and stuff like that. So one thing I want to show you guys before I go into the crafting aspect, the resources and whatnot, I want to show a few little interesting interactions that I have. Again, these may stay or go through the final game, but you guys can see at the moment we can pick up little pots. They don't break yet. They just kind of hard objects at the moment. You can throw it. Again, I would definitely like to improve the throwing. But you can drop it too. I like to just show the animations. This little facial expression. And then throwing it. You can also push this block as another example of something. Another interesting interaction is that you can actually shake trees to get sticks out of them. Right there. And this shows you a good example of my resource system. So you press E, we get a cool little animation, the background's blurred, it looks pretty nice, and it says a stick. Fallen from a shaken tree, it has many uses. So I can now equip a stick, and by pressing I, go in my inventory, and now I can swing a stick, and I can actually break a few stuff now. Unlike being barehanded, you can't. As you can see too, the sticks disappeared after a period of time. So one thing you can do with sticks, you can whack plants to get plant fibers. So I'm going to grab these fibers to show off another mechanic, which is crafting. So obviously Chubai's biggest ability is the fact that he can craft. And he can turn resources into tools or other resources. And then from there, craft new things. So give you an example, with the plant fibers we can actually craft enforced bands. So craft enforced bands. This interwoven thread bundle is formed with plant fibers. This strong rope-like material can bind things surprisingly well. So that gives you a really good example of what I mean by crafting, and by little itemization that I have with the resources, and the fact that you can go in your inventory and you can see the fact that they are there. Now obviously some icons are missing, that's why I have this particular icon there for the stick. Another cool little thing actually you can do, so you can equip this, like that by pressing 1, and then I can hold down tab and have my gear wheel to be able to quickly switch between items, which is pretty nice. You can see when I hit things too, the screen shake. Quite a bit of screen shake, maybe a little too much, but it's a work in progress still. On top of that, we also have these tools. So these tools, as you can see, exist here too for crafting, and they have the crafting recipes here. But what I did want to show you guys was the fact that you can take an axe, there's an animation and everything, and you can swing and whack these trees. You can see their health bar too. And now we can get some wood. Wood logs. A brown wooden log gathered from trees and fallen logs. Its uses are endless. So, grab all these little things, and you can see that's kind of how the axe works. It's a pretty simple axe. I think it feels really impactful. I think it's one of my favorite animations I did for him. He looks so strong when he does it. He looks so mad too. It's adorable. And how about I grab the Chubes spear, which is one for mining. And I would like to point out, like I said earlier, a lot of these tools are going to be changing in the next update because I kind of had a new revelation to make resource gathering a lot more fun and interesting. And I'll explain that in a little bit. I just want to show you guys what I have in this update first, just to not confuse y'all. You have Chark Eye crystals, and on top of that, we can also mine. So if I hit this, we can mine these as well, not just crystals of course, but we can mine these little ore veins. Again, all these models are work in progress. Very high chance of them getting changed. That was a rock. This is a Churon chunk. And there's also coal in the game. I'm surprised we actually didn't get a coal drop at the moment. And again, I would like to point out that all these resources are completely subject to change, and a lot of them will be changing, and a ton will be taken out too. So I just wanted to show you guys this in its current state right now, just to give you guys a really baseline idea of what the game is like currently. Let me go grab a shovel. And now, when I go on this sand pit, I can pop, get some sand. When I right click and hold down the shovel, pile the sand, and now I can grab a glass shard, and I can craft a glass shard. So just giving you guys an example of all like how the crafting works and all that stuff. And pretty much this is, for the most part, pretty much everything actually. It's not a whole bunch of stuff. I do know that you guys probably noticed this here. Cubic battery. A battery to power tools and terminals. So if I click this, the only thing you can do with it right now is put it into a pedestal to use it as a power source. That's the only thing you can do with it right now. And this fruit is not useful yet, but it will be useful soon. As you can see, it will be able to heal, and you see you can actually hold it in your hand. So pretty much, guys, this is kind of how the game is currently. And it's very simple in its design. It's not meant to be complex. It's meant to be like a fun, simple puzzle game. However, now that I've kind of showed you guys what the game has, allow me to explain what I want it to have in the next update and a lot of the changes. So the first thing to note is that personally, after really paying attention to the tools and how things work, I think overall, except for the axe, I love using the axe, mainly because of the animation. I like how satisfying it feels. Other than the axe though, I find all the other tools relatively samey and boring. Even though I tried to be different with a harvester spear instead of a pig axe, ultimately it's pretty boring. Actually, there's one thing I didn't actually show you guys with that. You can throw this, you throw it like that, it bounces off. If I throw it into wood though, it gets stuck, and it drops after a period of time. Give it a few seconds, there you go, and it drops. So yeah, that's one other little mechanic I didn't show you guys. But for the most part, I realized that I found this kind of boring. And what I actually want to do is my new, how do I describe this? My next goal for the next update for this game is to pretty much make it a lot more fun and interesting and more impactful with the tools, and to make sure that I'm streamlining the resource gathering better. So pretty much there's going to be a whole different sets of resources and brand new tools. And I'm not going to describe what they will be. I know what they're going to be. I want to keep them a secret so you guys are surprised, because I think when you see them you're going to be like, wow, this is way better than the first update. So that's going to be really fun. And one thing to point out too is that there are going to be 4 worlds in the game, and because you have a companion character, she'll also be helping you obviously throughout it, and you'll be able to switch between them, and you'll be able to have the multitasks. For example, I'll give you a really good example. With this axe, let's say for some weird reason, right, you need to smack a mechanism to make it spin. I'm just giving a random example. Let's say if you had to do this, right? But what if you had to also perhaps do something somewhere else? Well, what you could do is you could actually switch to the spirit in your book, and you can then multitask. So when you would switch like this, and you would take control of the other character, pretty much your character would keep doing this. You could switch to a different character, and he would continue this action. And then you could multitask something that requires that in a puzzle. So that gives you a good example of what I mean by like more depth and properly making the game a little more interesting, a little more fun. I still want to keep it simple, but I just want to make it, you know, something that I could make the game worth playing and make it a little bit more difficult as it goes on. And how their tools will be working, to give another example, is that Chubes is going to have physical tools or like technology based tools, while our other character, which is the spirit of the crafting book, she will be using magical tools. And those tools generally will be using like energy and elements, like wind and light, and things like that. So that's a good example of showing you guys how you'll be able to have unique tool sets for them, and you'll have to craft them. Now, let me explain a little bit more how crafting works, for example. So this is how every level will work out. Every level, you do not save any resources going in between levels. Every level you have to refine resources and rebuild your tools. That's the idea behind it. Not every level you will require every tool at your disposal. You might not need it. But how it will work is that because you have to craft your weapons and items every brand new level you go to, it will add like a level of difficulty where you're gonna have to figure out, well, how in the world am I gonna craft this in this new biome, you know, and how each world changes different biomes, and how you'll have to adjust and think, oh, okay, so that's what I need to do, and just kind of like keep testing the player whether they're thinking about using things properly and whatnot. So, I mean, that's the best way I can kind of explain it. There'll be more multitasking in the next update. There'll be like, you know, switching between the two characters, and just overall, I think better game design. So that's the idea of the next update. That update will be the one to have a free test, and this update currently won't be tested. It's just for the sake of me talking about the game and showing it off. It's very simple, in pretty much in design. And that's pretty much all I want to talk about right now in the game. The next update, I think I'll talk about the story. But for now, this is how the game is. I hope that this game maybe looks interesting to you guys. Hopefully it sounds unique. Obviously there are no levels yet from what you're looking at right now, but there will be once I get around to it. And on top of that, I also wanted to show off the fact that I have been paying attention to how the game probably will sound. And I have some music that I actually want to show off to you guys here. So the first, and I guess what I should probably do is have this music in a separate video, which I will do. So, funny enough, I made music for the second world, not the first world, because I felt inspired to do the second world first, and I will have a video out for that. And to give you guys some background on it, the world is called the Abyss, and it is a cavern world, and this particular place is very creepy. It's a kind of world that scares our main character. You'll see him like shaking and kind of scared about being in that world because it's dark. It's very dark. It's not bright and light like it is right now. It's completely pitch black. And getting a light source is going to be a really interesting kind of ordeal that you'll have to go through before you can get more well put together light sources, not like a torch or something like that, right? Because it's really dark. So there's a lot of things to talk about in that particular world, but all I'm pretty much describing, you guys, is that that's kind of what the music is trying to embody. And the song was made in a way that parts of the song would be looped for different areas of the level, so you would never hear the full song altogether. And again, maybe this doesn't make sense right now, but I guarantee you after you finish this video and you listen to the music, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And I also created map music as well. I'd like you guys to hear those two things after this video because I think you guys enjoy it. So pretty much that's all I have to really say about the game. I wanted to make this somewhat more brief, not going into too much detail, because I prefer to do that in the next update. Because that is the update where I consider the game to be definitive. This is just a collection of mechanics. It's a prototype. It's kind of in the air in this update, but in the next update, I think it's going to make everything a lot more grounded. It'll make things make more sense. It's going to be more fun. It'll be more visually interesting. The tools will be much more unique, tools you haven't seen before. And I think that ultimately, it's just going to be a more interesting, more unique crafting puzzle game. So, with that in mind, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you guys when I make the next update. The next update video will be... how can I describe this? So, okay, you know what? Let me recant that for a second. I will make another update video probably in 3 months, but I don't want to make the channel dead within that time period. So this is what I'm going to try and do. I will try and update you guys on small little things about this game on the channel to keep it alive, and I also am going to be doing some changes to my Discord. I want to make things more simpler. I think there's too many channels. I think it's just sensory information overload. I think that's what it is. So there's going to be some changes coming to the Discord soon, most likely next week or sometime this week. And that, again, right now it's the 11th where I'm recording this, December 11th. So it'll either be this week or next week, one or the other. There's a lag spike there. But you guys can see what I'm talking about. It's just gonna... I know that things have been a bit sparse with... or not a bit sparse, very sparse with information and updates on my social media. I'm going to not do that now and actually be active and try and show you guys that I'm actively working on things. But, yeah, that's all I can say. So I hope you guys have a great day. I will... kind of update some stuff on Discord with this. I'll try and do it in bits and pieces so I don't feel overwhelmed by doing any social media updates, and I will try and keep you guys up to date as much as I can. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I said that a few times. You guys know I like to repeat myself, and I'll see you guys in the next